So I am back. I have returned. And today I'll be giving you my NRL Round 19 tips and predictions. So let's get started. Kicking things off for Round 19, we have the Tigers at home against the Sharks. And starting with the Tigers, they currently sit in 17th place. Their form is only 1 win in the last 5 and their home record is 2 wins and 6 losses. They also lost last time out against the Cowboys. In terms of squad availability, Naden and Nofaluma are both to be confirmed, but they're not in the squad currently, so we'll see when they're back in the future. Buller, Laurie, Wakeham and Simpkin is the spine for the Tigers this week, and they have no players missing due to state of origin. In terms of percentage stats for the Tigers, they have a 20% win rate, 75% completion rate and a tackle efficiency of 89%. Moving on to the Sharks, they currently sit in 3rd place on the ladder. Their current form is 3 wins in the last 5 and their away record is 4 wins and 2 losses. They also won last time out against the Dragons. In terms of their squad availability, there is no Braden Hamlin-Uele from last week. Kennedy, Moylan, Hines and Brayley is the spine for this week, and they have no players missing due to state of origin. In terms of their percentage stats, they have a 60% win rate, 75% completion rate and a tackle efficiency of 87.5%. So I believe most people know where I'm going to go with this, because most people will have predicted what I'm going to go with as well. The Tigers were not very good last week. The Sharks were very good last week. Those were both severe understatements. Because I think we kind of know what happened, so I don't need to go into too much detail there. The Sharks, as strong as they are, they've been a little bit weird this season. Not been as clear cut. Like, they've been strong, defensively strong. In attack, they've been strong, but I don't know. There's something about them, just a couple of weeks have been a little bit off. That's not me saying that here's an open door for the Tigers. That's not what I'm saying. The Tigers, in the last few weeks, I'd say, they looked like they had something going for them. You know, big win against the Panthers. I think they had that big win against the Cowboys before they got battered by the Cowboys. But I think people could tell there was something with the Tigers. Something was going right. The loss of Coruscant and Luke Brooks has been huge for them. So I think this kind of slump that they've gone back into is going to continue. The Sharks, again, they could put in like an insane performance like they did last week, or it could just be fine. And when I say fine, I think we're looking at in the 30 points range for the Sharks, but if they are on top form, we're looking at 40 plus. So I'm thinking with the Tigers in such a slump and the Sharks looking pretty strong, and their away record is pretty damn good at the minute, 4 wins and 2 losses, I'm going to go with a heavy Sharks win. So I'm going to take the Sharks to win 13 plus. Next up, we have the Dragons at home against the Raiders, and starting with the Dragons, they currently sit in 16th place. Their form is only 1 win in the last 5 and their home record is 4 wins and 3 losses. They also lost last time out against the Sharks. In terms of their squad availability, they lost Sloan and Jaden Hunt due to injury, and Ben Hunt has been selected for Queensland in state of origin. In terms of their spine, we're looking at Turner, Amon, Sullivan and Liddle. In terms of percentage stats, they have a 25% win rate, 75% completion rate and a tackle efficiency of 86.9%. Moving on to the Raiders, they currently sit in 5th place on the ladder. Their form is 4 wins in the last 5 and their away record is 5 wins and 3 losses. They also won last time out against the Titans. In terms of their squad availability, Saulo is injured, as well as Papali'i is still out for a few more weeks, so a big miss there. Corey Horsburgh was selected for Queensland, so he'll miss out. And their spine is Chris, White and Fogarty and Wolford. Their percentage stats include a 62% win rate, a 77% completion rate and a tackle efficiency of 88%. So the Dragons are not in a good way at the moment. Not at all. All the stuff with Ben Hunt going on, he's not even going to feature. I was going to say I don't really see anything positive for the Dragons, but I don't know. Like, this season's just weird, man. Like, it's just weird. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if the Dragons still won. Like, the Raiders, they get Hudson Young back. Yes, they miss Corey Horsburgh. But, you know, Hudson Young wasn't selected for New South Wales, so he's going to be available.
They have pretty much the full spine that they've had the whole season, with Chris, White and Fogarty and Wolford. I don't see any positive signs for the Dragons here. And given that the form that the Raiders are on, how strong they are away, they had a big win against the Titans. I tipped the Titans to win, so I would say it's a big win for them. It's a strong win against, it looked like could have been a tough one. Titans were looking strong on paper. I thought it was a good opportunity for them, so a big win for the Raiders, which they are capable of, like strong wins. They're just not winning like the big games right at the top, aside from an upset against the Broncos, which I was, predicted incorrectly. Of course I did. But yeah, I don't see anything for the Dragons here, aside from the fact that a fluke win is extremely likely because I'm going to predict the Raiders to win. Whether having Ben Hunt out of the squad is helpful, like to kind of get him and that sort of noise out the way, I don't know what the locker room's like at the minute for the Dragons. I'm not in the locker room, so I wouldn't know. I think they can put up some points, but nothing to challenge. So I'm going to go with a strong Raiders win, 13+. Next up, we have the Eels at home against the Warriors, and starting with the Eels, they currently sit in 6th place on the ladder. Their form is 5 wins in the last 5, and their home record is 5 wins and 3 losses. They were also on a bye last week. In terms of their squad availability, Sean Lane is a huge inclusion for them. He's going to be on the bench, I believe. Now, Gutherson, Moses and Campbell Gillard were all selected for New South Wales, so they'll miss out this week. And then the expected spine is Russell, Mattison, Assey and Hands. In terms of their percentage stats, they have a 56% win rate, a 75% completion rate, and a tackle efficiency of 87.1%. Moving on to the Warriors, they currently sit in 8th place on the ladder. Their form is 3 wins in the last 5, and their away record is 5 wins and 3 losses. They also lost last time out against the Rabbitohs. In terms of their squad availability, there are no major changes. However, Sean Johnson is questionable. It does look like he is going to play, but the situation is that if it looks like his girlfriend, wife, partner is going to give birth, then he'll miss the game. And the Warriors have made contingency plans for that likelihood. In terms of the spine expected, we have Nickel, Clockstad, Metcalf, Johnson and Egan. Walker will probably replace Johnson if he's not available. In terms of their percentage stats, they have a 56% win rate, 78% completion rate, and a tackle efficiency of 88.6%. So, as mentioned, Johnson could miss this game, but is likely to play. I think he is the key difference. I think he kind of swings this game in the favour of the Warriors if he does play. If he doesn't play, I think it leans back towards the Eels, because I just think they've got enough elsewhere in the Eels to kind of come away with a win. Doesn't mean that the Warriors can't still win even without Johnson, because as I said, they have a contingency in place, which I believe is going to be Walker. But yeah, I think Johnson's just too important for them. Is he going to be thinking about, his child potentially being born during the game? Is that going to impact him? I'd like to think not, because he's a professional enough player that his focus will be solely on the game. But he's human at the end of the day, so it might be, it might pop into his head at some point. Goes to kick the ball, looks like a baby, thinks, I don't want to kick this, and then gets smashed. Completely hypothetical, of course, hallucinations. But I'm just rambling. But I think the Warriors have looked really good. I expected them to win last week in a bit of an upset, just because I felt the Rabbitohs are a bit of a disarray at the moment. That the Warriors could really pull out a win, and they didn't. They got shut out, and they got 6 points in the end. So I think the Warriors are still going to be strong. Eels will be fresh off a bye, so they've had time to prep with this spine, most likely. Assuming that Gutherson was probably going to be selected, I think, Fittler and Slater, they, speak to clubs and let them know what they're thinking and get feedback. So they probably knew that Gutherson was, going to be selected, as well as Moses and Campbell Gillard. So they've had time to plan for this. Assey has played a couple games and had some strong performances. Mattison is not a number 6, but, it's a versatile enough player that it could probably be fine. Russell and Hans are, professionals. They'll do a job. So I think the way I'm looking at it right now, it's the Warriors to win if Johnson is playing. It's the Eels to win if he's not playing. I think he has a slight swing in that, maybe 4 points in favour of the Warriors if he does play, 4 points in favour of the Eels if he doesn't. That's how I see it at the moment. So right now, Johnson is in the team. He is expected to play, and therefore I will make the prediction assuming that he is going to play. So therefore, I'm going to go with the Warriors to win, 1 to 12 points. Next up, we have the Rabbitohs at home against the Bulldogs. And starting with the Rabbitohs, they currently sit in 7th place. Their form is 2 wins in the last 5, and their home record is 3 wins and 4 losses. They also won last time out against the Warriors. In terms of squad availability, there is no Graham, no Mitchell, and no Arrow due to injury. There is no Walker, no Cook, no Murray, and no Kaloma-Tungi due to state of origin and being selected for New South Wales. Now, the spine listed for this week includes Taff, Hawkins, Ilias, and Havili. So we'll see how that goes. In terms of percentage stats for the Rabbitohs, they have a 59% win rate, a 77% completion rate, and a tackle efficiency of 88.7%. Moving on to the Bulldogs, they currently sit in 15th place. Their form is only 1 win in the last 5, and their away record is 2 wins and 5 losses. They also lost last time out against the Knights pretty heavily. In terms of squad availability, there is no Hayes Perham. Josh Adokar has also been selected for New South Wales, so he'll be missing. Their spine list for this week includes Avarillo, Burton, Sexton, and Marnie. In terms of percentage stats for the Bulldogs, they have a 31% win rate, 75% completion rate, and a tackle efficiency of 86.2%. So, I am leaning towards an upset. And I'll tell you why. I don't have that much confidence in Blake Taff. He's a young player. I get it. But I don't see him and think next man up. Like, if Latrell Mitchell was to leave the Rabbitohs, the obvious choice is Blake Taff. If he leaves, you get someone else to replace him. He's not the next man up. Hawkins, I don't know enough about him. I can't really comment. Maybe he's brilliant. I didn't know that much about Cogger or Salmon at the Panthers, and they've stepped in and played really well. So Hawkins might be a brilliant player. We will see. Lachlan Ilias is not the type of number 7 to take over games and control them. He's just not. Even though he's still incredibly young, I think he's 21, maybe 22, he's not the guy yet. For me, he's a slightly upgraded... No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. Am I going to say it? He's a slightly upgraded Cal Flanagan. God, that's so disrespectful. He's a slightly upgraded Cal Flanagan. He's better than Cal Flanagan because he's upgraded. But he's too basic. That's what I mean. He's too basic. He can't take over games. Sorry, Rabbitohs fans. And Havili, he's fine. He's all right. He's nothing special, nothing crazy. He's just run of the mill, standard. Okay, so the spine for the Rabbitohs is not looking good. There's no Campbell Graham to kind of give them that spark down the right. He's the person that would have saved Ilias. He's not there. There's no Latrell Mitchell to add that extra penetration. There's no Jai Arrow, who's a really strong player on the edge for typically down the left-hand side. So Rabbitohs looking weak. That's one half. And the other half is that I really like Jake Avarillo. I think he's really skillful, he's really pacey, and he's a dangerous player. And at fullback, it might work perfectly for him. Now, it might not if, the links aren't really there. But he could step into this role and be, insanely good. I'm picturing as more of a, not to compare him directly to, but more of a Joey Manu type fullback, where it's more like the penetrative runs and the darts, less linking up. Whereas Dylan Edwards is
just for a few examples, Dylan Edwards is a mixture of both. He can break the line and also link up. Scott Drinkwater's another example. I'm trying to think of other fullbacks that are just more about the linking up. They'll come to me, but he feels like a Joey Manu type where it's more like, doesn't really link up as much, but will make that run and then have to make the play. If that makes sense. I could be talking nonsense. Matt Burton, I trust him in any team. Kicking game is insane. His running game is actually brilliant as well. I think, he doesn't really get much credit on that. Toby Sexton, debut. I think he's a good option. It's a pretty good option. It's nothing over the top, nothing crazy, but I think he'll do well to control the game. I think he is going to have the edge on Lachlan Ilias. He's going to give them so much more control. So Matt Burton's still going to have that dangerous kicking game, but in terms of the game management and the control, Toby Sexton can do that to a much better degree than Lachlan Ilias can, I believe. And then Reid Marnie has been a really strong player for the Bulldogs. Now, overall, the Bulldogs have struggled. They were doing better, a few weeks, months ago, and they've really started to dip. A lot of people would say, given that the Rabbitohs put in a really strong statement win against the Warriors last week, and the Bulldogs were smashed, like, it's a clear-cut Rabbitohs win. For me, it's not. There's too many players missing. Looking at the spine, I don't trust it. I'm here to be proven wrong, again, as I usually am. But for me, just on the spines alone, I think that Bulldog spine can do some work on the weak Rabbitohs roster right now. I don't think it's going to be much. I think it's going to be a really tight game. But I think given the spark that's in that spine for the Bulldogs against a weak Rabbitohs team, I'm going to lean towards the Bulldogs in an upset win. So I'm going to take the Bulldogs to win 1-12 points. Finally, for round 19, we have the Titans at home against the Dolphins. And starting with the Titans, they currently sit in 10th place. Their form is 2 wins in the last 5, and their home record is 4 wins and 2 losses. They also lost last time out against the Raiders. In terms of their squad availability, there are no major injuries of concern. However, Brimson, Fa'asu Malawi, Fafita and Fotuaika have all been selected for Queensland in State of Origin, so they will miss out this week. Now, the spine that's listed is Campbell, Foran, Boyd and Verrills, which is pretty strong for me. Still looking good. And in terms of percentage stats, they have a 47% win rate, 77% completion rate, and a tackle efficiency of 85.9%. Moving on to the Dolphins, they currently sit in 12th place on the ladder. Their form is only 1 win in the last 5, and their away record is 3 wins and 5 losses. They also lost last time out against the Broncos. In terms of their squad availability, Kafusi is injured, and Tabai Fidau has been selected for Queensland. In terms of their spine listed, it includes Nikarima, Katoa, O'Sullivan and Marshall King, and their percentage stats include a 44% win rate, 79% completion rate, and a tackle efficiency of 87.4%. So, I think if both these teams had had their full squads available, I think I'd lean heavily in favour of the Titans. However, I am still leaning in favour of the Titans, just not that heavily. Now, Tabai Fidau is a big miss for the Dolphins. They've not been on great form. 1 win in the last 5. I think, the injuries can, finally caught up to them. Missing Tabai Fidau for a few games due to Origin. O'Sullivan being out didn't help. He needs to sort of get back into the groove of things. Their spine right now looks incredibly strong. And once they get Tabai Fidau back in there and they can all stay healthy, the Dolphins can really start to push back into that top 8 again. Because they've got the quality to do it. They've got the coach to do it. They've got the players to do it. And we've seen that as a team they can do it. So I think in the future, hopefully near future, the Dolphins will start turning things around. But right now, this Titans team, even with those big players missing, I think they've got enough in their squad to deal with it. And the depth they've got in their spine, they can lose Toby Sexton and it's not really a big deal. Like, that's huge. And they could lose AJ Brimson and it's not even a big deal. Like, he's been out for a couple of weeks already this season and they can just put Campbell in there. Like, the depth that they have is insane. So And also, I don't know if anyone saw a video recently. I'm not sure which network it was with. I'm not sure who the interviewer was, but I think it was a recent one with Jaden Campbell being interviewed, talking about, watching his dad when he was growing up, and like, he's a really mature guy. I'm not sure how old he is. I want to say 20, maybe 21, maybe 22. He's really mature, got a really strong, mature head on his shoulders, and he just screams professional to me. And I don't know, I like him. Got a lot of trust in him. I think whatever you need him to do, he's going to do it to the best of his ability. And Foran is a veteran. He knows what he's doing. Boyd has looked a lot stronger because of his partnership with Foran, and Verrills is a professional, strong player, doing a good job this season. So the Titans, for me, are the much stronger team, but I'd say it could be a much closer affair because of the fact they're missing Brimson, Fatasumalawi, Fafita and Fotuaika. They'll be a little bit lighter. The Dolphins might be able to challenge them through the middle, get a better field position overall. O'Sullivan's kicks can be dangerous, but I think ultimately they have enough creativity in the team still. Alfiana Khan-Pereira, 2 tries this week, I'm predicting that, to come away with a win. So that being said, I'm going to go with the Titans win, 1 to 12 points. So to recap my round 19 predictions, I'm going to take the Sharks and Raiders to win 13 plus, and I'm going to take the Warriors, Bulldogs and Titans all to win 1 to 12 points. In terms of my confidence, with winners' confidence, I'm at about 80%. And in terms of my margin confidence, I'm actually about 80% as well. It's the most confident I've been with the margin. So yeah, 80% for the winners, 80% for the margins. So that's my recap. So that is going to be it for this video. I have an hour and 30 minutes to get this video uploaded, so I need to crack on with that. But do let me know if you have any predictions for this week. Also let me know how you got on last week. But yeah, that is going to do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Hopefully earlier, but I'll see you next time.